Life is in phases, and men are in sizes. And when you are going through some phases in life, the first thing that will be coming to your mind is, it's my fault. Maybe I didn't do this, or maybe I did that, of what you did or what you did not do. Brethren, it's got nothing to do with that. When a baby reaches the phase where they want to grow teeth, thank God for technology, for science. Our mothers in those days, they would get what they call, is it abidec? Oh, come on. Now, so they will get all this, and you see that child looking so lean, running temperature, doing this or that, simply because of the stage that the baby is. It doesn't mean that the mother is a poor carer. That's why the baby is feeling that way. Not because the baby is a bad or unhealthy baby. Amen? Amen. But if care is not taken, the mother may be thinking it's my fault. But when that child passes that stage, what happens? Everything becomes normal. When the plane reaches certain place or stage on here, there will be turbulence. But after that, there will be stability. It's a stage you must pass in life. Even as organizations. Because the church is a living organism. It must pass through that stage as well. Amen. Amen. This message that God has given me for us today, I need to make a quick disclaimer. I don't think I've done that in a long while. This message has got nothing to do with whatever you may be seeing out there. There is a lot happening just now. Like I've just told you, that Scotland is undergoing some intense pressure. And the church in Scotland is under fire. The enemy is out there. God had a big plan for Scotland. Since 2019, many people from all over the world, they said God spoke to them about Scotland, and they were coming in 2020 to do this, and the enemy waited, and as 2020 landed, Satan has started attacking the church. So when you see things happening, I'm telling you because I'm in the center of it, I know what's happening around. So it's not peculiar to you. It's not peculiar to your church. It's all over the place, but it's in different flavors. Some, their own attack is strawberry. Some theirs is orange. Some theirs is apple. Some there is cranberry or tropical, whatever. So everybody's going through one thing or the other. So it's not, tell your neighbor, say it's not peculiar to you. So this message has been long prepared before anything you might have seen out there happening. So it's got nothing to do with that. Don't misinterpret or misconstrue this message. Paul was writing in 1 Corinthians chapter 9 from verse 24. He says, 1 Corinthians 9:24, do you not know that in a race all runners run, but only one receives the prize? So run that you may obtain it. Every athlete exercises self-control in all things. They do it to receive a perishable wreath, but we are imperishable. So I do not run aimlessly. I do not box as one beating the air, but I discipline my body and keep it under control, lest after preaching to others, I myself should be disqualified. Amen. Amen. Church, I'll be sharing with you today a message titled, Run Well to Finish Well. Run well to finish well. Can somebody say that, please? Run well to finish well. Life is a race, whether you like it or not. Life is a race, and we are all on the track where it's imperative for us to run. from the womb back to the tomb is a race. The moment the baby is born and he cries, the first cry, the race begins. In fact, in some cases, right from the womb, the race begins. Amen? Some babies were racing and struggling for life from the womb. Amen? Right from the time of conception, the race started. The race started. Amen? You know the biological process of that. You know what hit the egg. How many of them ran towards the egg? And the one that beat others to it. Millions of other spermatozoa. Forgive my ignorance when it comes to that. It's not my line. But just the basic knowledge they taught us. If I didn't get it right, blame my teacher. Amen? So we were told that millions of spermatozoa are being released by the man. And they all race towards the egg. Isn't it? It's only one that strikes and enters. So you've been in a race even before you were conscious of it. Life is a race. But the race of life, the difference is that some are running the race intentionally because they understand what the race takes. While some are being compelled to run the race. Where do you belong? The Bible is full of stories of people who started well their race but never finished well. The same Bible is also full of stories of people who started well, but they didn't start well. But on the way, they made a detour and they ended well because they made amendment on the way. And the Bible also tells us about people who started well and were steadfast, focused, and consistent until they finished well. We want to look at this today. From what Paul said in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, he's talking about the race. He says, for in a race, all runners run. Race in Greek word is associated with track. Track is involved. And when you talk about track, something is outlined for you. So the race becomes personal to you. You may be in the midst of a crowd and you are still feeling lonely. You may be in the midst of abundance and you are still feeling impoverished and poor. Amen? Because the race of life is personal. Amen. We love to talk about the race of faith. So today, when we talk about race, you talk about finish. Say finish. Say finish. Say finish. Because the reward of the race is waiting at the finish line. But today we focus so much on the finish line, the end of the race, and we think that is the ultimate. Brethren, let me shock you. That's not the ultimate. The end of the race is as important as the journey towards the end. It's as important as the journey towards the end. There are some subjects that you did not prepare for the exam, and you got to the exam hall, and all you did was to turn your neck to a kind of hydraulic hose, and it goes like this. Go to 90 degree, 180 degree, and your neck did 360 degrees, and you put a scanner in your eye, and you are capturing everything you are seeing around you. Some people are so gifted. He turned the neck 360 degrees and he captured everything and he copied it. And he got away with it. But I come to tell you, in the race of life, if you do that, you will not get it right. Number one, every person is given a different question paper. So if your neck did 360 degree and you captured everything and you copied and pasted, you are copying wrong answers. And even if by any chance you got the answer right, they want to see you like mathematics, how you did the workings and arrived. They are not just marking your answer. Mathematician, do you agree with me? They are also interested in your formula. If the answer is right and the calculation, the working, the formula is not right, they know that something is wrong somewhere. Are you with me? So life, we're talking about the race of life. But the buzzword here today is finish. The message says, run well to finish well. If you do not run well, you are not likely to finish well. Amen? You are not likely to finish well. Talking about finishing, there are different ways to look at finish. Amen? Amen. The Bible tells us in John chapter 4 verse 34, John 4:34, Jesus made a statement that actually confused the disciples. And we need to look at that. The background to the story, they got to a place, Jesus was hungry. Did you hear me? The Savior was literally, physically hungry. When you talk about certain attributes of God, the theologians, they call something the anthropomorphism of God. It's mouthful, isn't it? Anthropomorphism. That try equating God in kind of human character, the feelings that God feels as human. Because Jesus is 100% God, 100% human. So he felt hungry. And the disciples could feel it that he's so hungry. He sent them to the market to go and get food for them. And they rushed to the market. But because he's running well in order to finish well. And how do you run well? I told you that the race has to do with track. It's following his own track. He stays on his own track. As many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are children of God. He always follows the instruction of the Spirit. Otherwise, how could somebody be baptized by Almighty John the Baptist, who is sent from heaven to do that? He was baptized by the best. As if that was not enough, when he was being baptized, the Bible tells us in the glare of everybody, heaven opened as he was coming out of the water. And God validated the ministry of Jesus, that this is my beloved Son. Are you with me? In whom I'm well pleased. What more do you need when you hear that? The next thing should be for you to be looking for the biggest building in town, a penthouse, and open a ministry. Because God has just confirmed your calling and your status. Amen? But because it's always running well in order to finish well. It's not led by ambition. It's not led by the flesh. It's not led by his emotion. It's not led by his sentiments. It's always following the leading of the Spirit. Are you with me? The Spirit came and said, you know what next? Said what? He said wilderness. Not for 1 day, not for 2, not for 3, for 40 days. To be tempted of the devil. And Jesus turned and faced the wilderness. People that witnessed the baptism and the hope in heaven, they were waiting to see something great start. But the Spirit wanted it another way. That's the way to live our life. To obey the leading of the Spirit. When you feel like doing it, and the Spirit wants you to do it otherwise, you submit yourself to the leading of the Spirit. That's how to run well. So Jesus here, the Spirit told him that this is not the time to be eating food. There is another spiritual food to eat, which will give there is an opening, an opportunity for ministry in Samaria, where they hated the Jews. And Jesus being a Jew, there was no breakthrough in Samaria. And souls were there that needed to hear the gospel. So God brought a woman to Jesus, the Samaritan woman. The Bible did not tell us her name. Not to bore with the details of the story, they started their conversation. Jesus began by saying, "Woman, can you give me some water to drink?" Just to initiate a conversation. And they continued and continued and continued, and until it started with prophetic gift. And the woman left her bucket and rushed to town to bring people, and they followed her to Jesus. Many people were opportune to hear the gospel. Amen? Amen. But when the disciples returned, the Bible tells us in John chapter 4 verse 34, they were wondering. Two things pursued them. We know how we left him when we were going. He was so angry. But the way he's acting and talking now, this does not look like someone who is hungry. Has anyone giving him food to eat? Secondly, why would he be talking to a woman in private? Not even a Jew. Are you with me? And Jesus answered, just to paraphrase, "My food is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work." There is something we need to. Why did he add the last few words, "and to finish his work"? My food is to do God's will. And it's also important for me to finish his work. Brethren, it's not enough to do the work. It's not enough to do the work. It's very, very crucial to finish the work. It's not enough to do the work. Jesus is laying emphasis on finishing here. And when we talk about finishing, the Bible says the end of a matter is better than the beginning thereof. Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 8, better is the end of a thing that is beginning. And the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. So he's telling us what is, and he's telling us how to. He's telling us what is. The end of a matter is better than the beginning. But how do you journey to the end? He says, and the patient in spirit. Say patient in spirit. So that is the secret to staying on course. That is the secret to running and running well in order to finish well. Because the end is better than the beginning. Many people start. In life, we have relay. We have short distance race, isn't it? Where everybody maybe 400 meters. Back together. And we have some, you just pass the baton to the next person. And we have some, it's a marathon. You just keep going. You just keep going. You just keep going. And on the journey, you get to some bends where all you see is just yourself. You'll be wondering, where are the rest? You get to some bends where all you see is the back of your fellow competitors. It seems everybody has left you behind. You get to some points where when you just glance behind you, you see many people behind you. You tend to feel garrulous and proud. I'm the best. I'm leading all of them. And you turn to another corner, you see many people ahead of you. So what am I doing here? Even you want to put in more effort to catch up with them, but the strength is not there. Amen? Amen. Brethren, life can be like that. Various experiences. You feel like quitting. You feel like hanging the boot. You feel like turning back. You feel like pulling off to one side to say, I'm doing no more. But you just have to continue. Then you also feel like cheating. Cutting corners. Yeah? Have you been there? You feel like looking for a shortcut where no one will see you. This should lead to the finish line. Are we not go that side? Why do I have to go right there? Just appear there. They are watching you. It doesn't be. It doesn't work. You need to run well in order to do what? To finish well. When we talk about the race of life, brethren, we are living in a day, an age where everything is fast changing. Do you agree?
Yes.
The world is fast changing. In fact, we are living in the fourth industrial revolution age. Things are no more the way they used to be. The world is changing. And you know the funny part? And the world is making frantic effort to change us. The world itself is changing. And it's not just changing on its own. The world wants to change us. Every day we are under pressure. That's why the Bible says, be ye not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Amen.
Be ye not conformed. Amen?
Amen.
You are playing a passive role there, not active role. That means there is a force wanting to conform you. It's not you that you are trying to conform. It didn't say do not conform. It said don't allow yourself to be conformed. Something is coming against you every day to reshape you. And it begins with your theology on various aspects of life. It begins to tinker with your belief system so that you can look around and say everybody is doing it. That means it's not bad. But you know it used to be bad. So when did it become wrong? Well, right now, if it was bad before, be ye not conformed. Be ye not conformed, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Still talking about finishing. Church of God, 2 years ago at the last General Assembly, the emphasis was on finished commitment. And our General Overseer, Dr. Tim Hill, worldwide, spoke at length about that. Amen? Amen. Spoke at length about that, about the finished commitment. Jesus, last week we were talking about Jesus said, come and follow me. He called you to come in order to send you to go. He called you to come so as to send you to go. But he will not send you to go empty-handed. He will impact on you. He will impact something into you. Because he called them to come, then he released something into them, then he sent them to go. Amen? Amen. And how do we do it? On this finishing, How do we run well? This has been our slogan. Love God, love people, serve the world. Love God, love people, serve the world. You cannot jump this and go to the final one, serving the world, which some people are doing today. Love God, love people, serve the world. Amen? Amen. To look at another aspect of finish. Sometimes the difference between what is good and what is best, and the difference between what is best and what is excellent, is what? Finishing. Finishing. And that is why when I feel sorry for my community, most times we lack that finish for good finishing. We don't have that flair to concentrate on good finishing. When I was at university back home, I joined a club. We formed a club called the Orators Club for public speaking. And our patron then was the former late Attorney General of Nigeria, Chief Bola Ige. We call him the Cicero of Esauke, as a good public speaker. And when he came to launch the club, he said many things, but he said something that was stuck with me since then. It has been stuck with me. When he was giving his speech, he said, the difference between what is good and what is best is attention to details. That hit me like a thunderbolt. I wrote it down on paper and I wrote it on my heart. Ever since, it's been haunting me. The difference between what is good and what is best is attention to details. And that is why we do many things in Africa. We have many devices, many inventions. So creative a mind with God. But sometimes what affects the quality and the value of our product is poor finishing. Poor finishing. When you juxtapose or you place it side by side with products or services provided from other clients, you find out that essentially they are the same thing. They run on the same mechanism, the same system, are ready and willing to pay $1,000 for this. And people are offering you $5 for this. Is the finishing. Because he just did it. As long as it's just for sitting. It's a chair for sitting. As long as people can sit, it's okay like that. But the other person will make it to that stage. He will look at it. That is the basic purpose. But to have value to it, to upgrade it, he will go and buy other material of $200 and wrap it around it. Isn't it? He will work on it. It will cost him like $500 to finish, to give it that fine finish. Then he will put a price tag of $1,000, non-negotiable. And my friend, we get the wood together and the raw materials, very organic, very raw, very real, very heavy, very good quality products. material he will use to make it, but the finisher will be disappointing. So they will say, $5, is it okay? And the other person. And when you look at the two items critically, you find out that essentially they are the same. Just the finishing. 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 Say finishing.
Finishing.
Say finishing.
Finishing.
Is very, very important, people of God. Amen? Make sure you finish. And you finish well. Jesus said, my food is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work. Did he finish or not? Of course he did. He finished and he finished well. He finished and he finished very well. God is calling us to wake up and to watch how we run. If you run well, there are chances. The chances are so high that you will finish well. The effort is not at the end. The effort is in the journey towards the end. The effort is not at the end. It's in the journey. It's what you do every day. It's what you do every day. And someone that will finish well must have a clear understanding of what is to be done. Jesus knew what was to be done. Amen? And that's why he kept telling them in parables, in parables, in parables. Amen? He kept telling them in parables. He got to a point. He did something, people were surprised. He said, so I did that, you are surprised? What if you see the Son of Man ascending to heaven where he has come from? That was the final thing that happened. But he was telling them in parable. That means he had a clear understanding of his journey. When you start a course in uni, they give you the course outline, which we don't read. Amen? Some of us don't even bother to check it, to understand. For the 12 weeks of the semester, everything has been outlined. And he gets to class, and the lecturer comes and teaches, and everyone, what is he talking about? What does he mean by that? And the colleague says, go and check your course module. Everything is there. That means he has actually positioned himself to fail. Amen? But if you have a clear understanding of what needs to be done, if you don't know where you are going, how will you know when you have got there? How will you know how far you've got to go if you have no idea? So how you live each day matters. And the finishers, professional runners, trained runners who run, they know the secret, the methodology of running. They know how to start off. They know where to save their energy. They know where they need to increase the speed. They know where to slow down. But when you see an uncultured, untrained runner, he thinks it's by speed. Isn't it? And he starts off, he starts beating everybody, trying to outrun everybody. He's competing. They can tell. I give him 2 kilometers. He will run out of steam. So those one day will space their pace, and they will space their speed because they are trained to run. Are you with me, church? To finish well, you need to run well. And to run well, you need to run with understanding. And to prepare to close, what are the things? Why do we run well? Running well is watching what happens to you day by day. The enemy has come in your journey of faith. He has attacked you on the outside, and he still finds you standing. He has brought persecutions your way. He still finds you going. Then he will want to attack your mind. He will want to cause an implosion from inside. Are you with me? Things that attack our faith, they are things unseen. Amen? They are things unseen. Jesus said, look, what goes into the mouth is not what defiles a man. All those things you talk about, yeah, they are bad in their own way, but that's not. But what really defiles a man is what comes from inside. The question is, how did he get there? How did he get there? It got there somehow, some way, and it's been processed. Say processed.
Processed.
And now it's coming out, but not the same way it went in. Amen? When you begin to hate somebody you have not even met because of what you heard about them, and you begin to relate with them on that level, when you begin to hate someone you once loved because of what you are hearing outside about them, and you are borrowing other people's lenses to look at them, you want to love them, but it's difficult to love them. Those are the things that affect our joy. Those are the things that may slow down our pace in this race. Those are the things that could terminate our journey if we so allow. Are you with me, church? Those are the things we need to watch out for. Some people started well, but they never finished well. Some started well, amen, and they finished well. Some did not start well because they did not know better. But along the line, they came to that realization and they made amends in their journey and they finished well. But God wants you to finish well. He wants me to finish well. But there are things we need to deal with. Are you with me, church? There are stuff we need to deal with. If you look at this, and I'll close with this Hebrews. That Hebrews chapter 12, I want to say the way my translation put it. It said, therefore, from verse 1, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders. Let us throw off. When Bartimaeus heard about Jesus and he was crying for help, amen? And he thought, because he could not see, he wasn't sure if he's been heard by Jesus. Other people heard him. Instead of helping him, they were trying to silence him. But the one that he needed to hear him, he had to put everything away. This is the picture the Bible is giving us here. Let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. Another version says, let us cast away every weight and every besetting sin. Sin that have become a second nature. Sin that you commit without even feeling bad about it anymore. Sin that you have managed to convince yourself to justify. These are the things that will make the journey so difficult. Brethren, God is calling us today. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to talk down on you. I know how tough the journey is. You got your struggles, I got mine. We face challenges every day. But is this the author of Hebrews is advising and guiding us here? And he says, and let us run, not just run, with perseverance. with perseverance the race that is marked out for us. And it says the only way to stay on course on the race is let us fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith. When I was learning how to ride a bike, I struggled with it for a long time. Until my trainer, my cousin, told me something. He said, when you are riding, just face front. Just focus. I don't know whether it has worked for you, but it worked for me. I was able to pedal without falling. Because I will be riding, looking to the right, looking to the left. And in driving or riding, they say, your steering follows where your eyes go. Fix your gaze on Jesus, the author and the finisher of your faith. Amen. Deal with every sin that you have managed to accept as a norm in your life. As simple as they are little foxes that destroy the vine of your life. They look harmless. They don't even have teeth. They are small foxes, not a big white animal. And you have domesticated them. They have become like pets to you. Yet, they are capable of causing a colossal damage to our life, to our faith, to our walk with the Lord. Shall we rise on our feet, church?